right, well, let's go ahead because we are going to try to stay right on target here. This is just a quick 30-minute interview. We have our friend and client in the room here with Joe Brian. Brian is one of our clients and a business owner. Oh, hey Mo, good morning from the car. This is one in our series of Entrepreneurs Revealed, the Perspective series. So about once every other month or so, we do an interview with either Joe or one of our other board members does an interview with one of our clients, and just really to talk about what it's been like for them as they've grown their business and what they're doing now, how they choose their advisors and that sort of thing. So this has been our answer through COVID from having live business owner forums, but hopefully we'll be able to get back to that soon. And maybe we'll do both. Yeah.
Perfect. Shelley, a couple of shout outs. I do not know why Mo or Matt are here because they see so much of me. Good morning, Mo. Good morning, Matt. Mo and I actually were talking last night, and I wanted to tease Kurt and RJ. Them coming to meetings like this to have this conversation is like bringing sand to the beach. They're so seasoned in these things. So hi guys, and thanks for coming. And RJ probably didn't hear anything I just said because his audio is still recording.
Connecting, yeah. So thank you guys for doing this for us. I'm going to let you go ahead and get rocking and rolling.
Sure. So hi, I'm Joe Strazzeri, as many of you might know, with Strazzeri Mancini in the Southern California Institute. I'm sitting here with one of my good friends, Matt. I'm sorry, with Matt that's on the phone, but I wanted to be able to have a conversation and talk about businesses. So what kind of business are you in and how did you get started?
Okay, so good morning, everybody. My name is Brian Rott. I'm the CEO of Cartmart. We're a national golf and low-speed vehicle dealer distributor. We operate in about 7 states throughout the country and Mexico. So the company is 63 years old. I started working there at 14.
14 years old. So I take it you didn't own it at 14.
No, clearly, no, I didn't own much at 14. And it took a long time before I actually had any, value or asset, either the business or myself. But I've been in it. That's my first and it's my last job.
So who owned it at the time?
I started working for my grandfather, who was one of the early pioneers in the golf car industry, manufacturing cars. And when he started the company in 1959, it was more of a hobby.
Right.
And then it's turned into what it is.
How'd you end up starting at 14? What drove your parents or you to think about doing that?
I think it was important to my parents and my grandparents to instill work ethic in me and learn how to work and for somebody and learn how to do something other than, gosh, I can't imagine what we were doing at 14 other than,
if it was anything like me, it was grunt work.
Yeah. Well, just in life, but they instilled that they wanted me to learn how to actually, be productive with my time. And so they got me an opportunity to work at the company. And
well, I was something similar. I remember we had construction. We owned dental. My parents owned dental offices, and I went and cleaned dental offices on the weekends when I was 14 years old. And during the summers, I worked in construction, cleaning out ditches for foundations.
Yeah,
similar type thing. So, how many different roles have you had in the company over the time?
Well, actually, I've held about every single position that's in the company today. I always say that because I really have spent whether it would be several months or several years in every key department and almost every key position in the company. It's what makes the business so familiar to me, because I've literally come from the ground up and created many positions that weren't in the business 5 or 10 years ago.
Are you 100% owner at this point?
Yes.
Right. So how did you get ownership? How does that work?
Well, I started getting taken seriously when I was around 20, 25 years old. It took a long time to get
so that's 10, 11 years
of getting the attention of the board and my grandparents. And they were very adamant about working till the very last breath. So my grandparents worked till about 96 years old.
So grandma works in the business too.
I like to say she worked behind the scenes in the
Sure.
business, but when they started to really hit in their like mid-80s, we knew that there needed to be a succession plan in place. And one was provided to me when the family actually tried to sell the company out from under my grandparents.
Oh, I bet they love that idea.
You know, it was a horrible experience for them, but the net result was me coming to them and saying, what did you like about that deal? And there was nothing they liked about it because it wasn't their decision, it wasn't even their idea, but they did like the price. And I said, well, I'll pay you that for the business.
And how old are you at this point?
I was maybe 25 years old.
So you went in your bedroom and you broke your piggy bank and brought the money to them?
No, actually, I said, I'll pay you that price. And they said, you can't afford that. There's no way you're gonna be able to pay that. I said, you're gonna finance me. And I'll pay you back every penny. And by the way, you can work in the business until you decide that you no longer want to work in the business.
And they liked it.
And they like that. So I gave them exactly what they wanted, which was to continue to run the company the way they wanted to. They just didn't really own it. And nobody needed to know.
Yeah, and so you three are the only ones that knew that.
Yeah, for about 12, almost 15 years.
Holy God.
Yeah.
So what were some of the challenges you had at 25 years old, starting to sign on the dotted line, you're gonna have to pay for this? You had grandparents working in the business, but it was really yours, and you're trying to effectuate change and work on it. What were some of the challenges?
Well, actually, the challenges were really more related to the respect that I try to give, you know, the family and the managers of the company. Even though I was the owner, it was my promise that I wasn't going to really tell anybody. I was going to work behind the scenes. I was going to work trying to effectuate that change without interfering with their very committed and recognized ego of being the owner. So I did everything behind the scenes, and that change didn't really happen. Actually, for 10 years or more, we couldn't get anything done with them, especially as they aged. They became even more concerned about what was happening, and we went through a recession, and they were not interested in seeing any kind of risk taken.
Sure.
And so it was a challenge.
And then, so nobody inside the company knew, and the family didn't know, but of course, you had to have some lawyers or accountants that knew because of the cash flow of things, and tax reporting, right?
Well, I also committed in my transaction to basically flow whatever profits were the business to keep paying down the note that they took out. So I didn't see any money really for maybe 12 years or so.
So you got your pay, but you didn't really see any money out of profit because you were paying down the
It
other
went
side.
straight to them. Yeah.
Did you pay it all off?
On December 31st, 2021, I made my last payment to the
Isn't that
family.
amazing?
Yeah.
That's very
It was a
cool.
good experience.
What were some of your successes over the years? What would you say was a success, or did you only start to see big successes after 21?
No, the business was always a very small, really local company. We had one location, and it wasn't until 2013 that I took the leap with the family's reluctant blessing, but I took the leap of faith in 2013 over my second location. And now we have 8 locations in the country and one in Mexico. So we've gone from one single location to basically, 8, 9 in 10 years, which has been one of my great successes. But also, watching the company go from just the one location, but we also only had one brand at the time. And now we exclusively distribute every brand in our industry of low speed small vehicles. And we do so at a really high level that makes us all very proud to be associated with the brand.
So you and I went to Jackson Hole just a couple weeks ago with 8 of us business owners, and we went for that dog fishing for better business, better life. And one morning you and I were walking, and you expanded for me. These are just not golf carts like at the Grand where I play, where I found you one day. You came out of going to see the guys down below on how they can mechanically fix something. But Greg Danner was with us, and you were walking with me and said, no, Joe, that's one of our, and So it's more than golf carts. You said low-speed vehicles. What are those included? So the audience would know, because it blew my mind. And how did you decide to expand into those things?
Well, everybody understands what a golf cart does,
Yeah.
and they associate it, and then everybody has a friend that might have one in the neighborhood to get around, and that's definitely a subset of our golf carts. But what really got us started back in the early 50s was designing vehicles to move people and stuff. So stuff being materials, let's say when you're at a resort or hotel, it could be luggage, it could be food service, it could be people, right? Getting you from A to B at the resort. But then you look at things like stadiums, airports, and then municipalities. Everybody has a need to move stuff in a commercial setting. And so a large part of our company is really dedicated to business and business to government, selling small vehicles, low speed vehicles to move around communities or large campuses.
So you were into this whole electric thing long before everybody thought it was sexy.
We used to have a marketing campaign that when everything was about being green and being, green, we used to say, we've been green before it was cool.
Very cool. How are you doing fine now and you're not looking to grow because you've grown to this size, or you're looking at a higher trajectory? What are you looking at?
Well, I've always been aggressive in what I do. So, somewhere around 2012, I spoke and wrote an article about if you're not growing, you're dying. So, I think part of where we are at this stage in the company is in a high growth mode, because the electrification of vehicles right now and the pressure to go from combustion engine vehicles into electric is so high. It's omnipresent in every conversation that you have with friends, and it's one of the top 3 subjects on television when you turn on the news. So electrified vehicles is no question the future. So we're in a big growth spurt right now. We're in a raising capital stage, and we're acquiring companies and opening new stores and new businesses and new markets throughout the country in areas that really have high growth. So no, we're not at a point of sitting back and watching this business, which is 63 years old, just coast. I mean, we're doubling down right now, trying to expand and maybe triple business over the next 5 years.
So why do you want to double down and triple the business in 5 years when it clearly is doing well? Is that a personal need? Is that a goal you have for yourself? Is that a pride? What drives that?
I think the right answer is because the industry deserves that, in my opinion, right? We make up an industry of very small owner operator type businesses, and the industry needs a organized system and an organized platform to expand in really to provide these services to clients. It has to be done, and there really isn't anybody that I know of doing this. So there's more of obligation to doing it right. That's always been my take on life. If you're the only one who can do it, then you need to do it. And so, carry the heavy lifting. So there's that. And there's probably some sick part of my brain that says you're the guy to do it. And there's probably an ego in there, in spite of the fact that I don't wear that on my sleeve.
Is it exciting, or is it scary, or is it both?
Actually, it's exciting. I tend not to lead with fear. I lead with encouragement, and so I'm excited about it. My team's excited about it, and it's one of those great successes that you asked about. Is giving my team the opportunities to do these things that they've never done, that have never been done in our space. Although they've been done in almost every other space out there. There's plenty of roll-ups and plenty of fast-growing companies, but there's just none in our space. So seeing my people do this with excitement makes this whole thing taste so much better.
I would imagine it's not the same internal team of adding 2 or 3 other shops or 2 or 3 other lines to growing that you're talking about. So did you grow your team members to be able to do it, or have you had to acquire internal team members to support this?
I really believe in promoting from within. So everybody's on my C-suite and my executive team is somebody that has either come along with me over the last, say, 10 years, or new additions that specialize in the certain key vertical of the business. So we're trying to add from within, and when we can't, we look for outside, certainly within the industry if possible.
So I know that you've got a peer group that's been really helpful to you on the way you've thought about doing this, correct?
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a bit? Why a peer group? How'd you bump into it and how has it helped?
Well, I'm a member of Vistage for now 16
It
years.
was a great chair.
I think the best. Jim Heaton has been a lifesaver to me in my business over the years, and just being there. And the group, my ad hoc board of directors that I get out of my Vistage, core Vistage team, has been invaluable to me because they know me and see me dealing with my issues. I've been able to process some amazing opportunities and issues with them that have helped me steer left or right, or in or out based on discussions and information I got from them. I know unequivocally that I wouldn't be in where I am today had I not had the help of like a group of smart people at Vistage, guys like a chair like Jim Heaton, an advisor to help shepherd me through my life. And this isn't just something I've been doing for 2 years. Like I said, 16 of the most pivotal years of my life and business have been under the Vistage and my peer group and advisory board, and it's helped me.
Do you
immensely.
bring things to them and ask about it, or is it just a natural, organic, you guys give each other advice, the guys and gals?
In this particular group, the expectation is that you come prepared for your meetings. If you have an issue to process or you need to discuss something, it's organized. It's done in an organized fashion. It's a team of people peeling apart your issues and really breaking it down to the core root problem, and maybe identifying problems that you didn't even anticipate were interfering with the situation. So we absolutely come prepared if you want to get the best experience out of that particular issue.
So how about work-life balance? How good are you at that? How good have you been with that?
What's that?
What's that?
No, I never had.
Well, we were just right a couple of minutes ago talking, you're volunteering at your son's school
Yeah.
this week or next week, right? For a
Yeah.
whole day.
Yeah.
So you got some of it. You
Yeah.
poke fun at me.
Well, actually, it's something that is new for me. So I've really been I've been working 7 days a week in the business for 30 years, up until, let's say, maybe the last few years that I've started to be able to afford to bring in great people to help work on the business with me and work in the business for me. So I am getting that work-life balance more than I probably ever had. It's something I relish in, and it does give me the opportunity to go fishing or go work, volunteer time. It's something that's very foreign to me. So it does often even make me feel guilty when I'm doing something other than being present for my people in the work.
It's funny, you say present for your people. Do you assume that you're pressuring them when you're not in?
I don't assume that it's pressure. I just, always have the fear that there is some, because it's basically out of guilt, right? When you're not there, you assume that they're wondering, are you checked in? Or are you checked out of the company?
Yes.
And so I have to be very mindful in making sure that they know what I'm up to and where we're going. And in that way, it helps them, guide their commitment even stronger. And then that's the same with the family too. So having the family know that I'm committed to them by showing up at things that I wouldn't necessarily normally in years past be able to ever be at.
How are they adjusting to having more of you?
Yeah, well, it's gotten to the point of now they're questioning whether they want to have more of it. So now there's the balance of, should they spend more time with me, or should they spend more time with the family? And of course, we know the answer to that, but it's definitely an adjustment, and I think everybody's happy to have me around.
It's funny because the thing that you mentioned in both the situations is setting expectations for your key team members, your C-suite, and then the rest, to let them know that you're still very involved, that you're dedicated, that this is our end goal. And if you're not working 7 days a week, it doesn't mean you're no longer dedicated.
Yeah.
Oddly, you would not think that if you're only working 4 or 5 days a week, you wouldn't have to tell everybody that you're still very dedicated.
Yes, that's right.
But the ones that have been with you so long, you expect the 7.
Yeah,
Do your team members, your internal team members work 7 days a week?
no, I hope not. Yeah, that's definitely important for me that they have that work-life balance as well, and I promote that, and I don't track hours off or days off for my executive team or anyone that I really work around. I just fully trust that they're gonna work whatever they need to get the job done. We're not tracking those hours. They don't even put in for time off. They just take it.
Just take it when it is. And then your external team, you've got CPAs and attorneys and financial advisors and all that. How did you choose those kinds of people? Or did you do it all on your own for all that time? Fill out your own tax returns.
I think like hiring people to work with you or work for you, I think, you have to kiss a lot of frogs. So over the years, sure, I did manage a lot of this. I at least inside, I didn't feel as though I had anything of value that was, I needed the advisory of a proper attorney or a proper. That was the wrong thinking, of course, and I just look back and I say, well, I'm sure glad he didn't die then, So we over the years have just had to meet a lot of people, and like in meeting you over the years, we started small. We started with a document or a contract, and then turned into a will or trust, and now it can move into other things, and it is. And that's just, I think, with all types of service providers, if that's not an offensive term, I apologize, but
No,
but like a advisor, because when you are looking for that, you should probably start small and work your trust and
So kiss little frogs before you get a big frog in your pot.
well, maybe just hold hands with the frog.
By all means,
Yeah.
by all means. And did you also ask friends or did you ask other advisors? How did you bump into them?
Yeah, that's one thing I learned at Vistage and throughout my life is that, before I make any bigger decisions, I try to ask people I know, like, and trust. So, we come to you through a recommendation.
Sure.
And that's just how we sort of get places. I don't think I'm the type to, Google search, will and trust estate attorneys in San Diego. That would be too impersonal.
Sure.
How would you ever know? So it's really important for a network to lean on that network. Say, what worked for you? How was the experience? It's probably no different than how you would choose a contractor or how you would,
Or my doctor.
or how you would buy a golf cart, right? Who did you buy from and did they take care of you? Oh, they were amazing. Go with that guy. And that's how we find each other. And that's pretty much how I found everybody anyways.
And you've started to expand your planning. First, it was you were doing a little bit with your account, a little bit with your attorney, and now you're looking at much more global. Is it asset protection? Is it income tax? Is it capital gains tax? What about a future sale? Or how do you do with your business? You're starting to look at much more global things rather than just your business.
Yeah.
Is that because you were so concentrated running the business, you couldn't think about these other things?
I think there's a combination of, I had my priorities focused on at different stages of my life. It was building the family, I'm never going to die, to building the business for the family, to now I'm building this foundation for the business and the family should I die. So,
So this is all about dying?
well,
We're entrepreneurs, we're immortal.
well, and I'm also realistic. So I want to make sure that whatever I've done, because I've spent my life building this entity, this enterprise for my family and for the legacy of the people that work for me, I'm really just trying to protect it. So the answer is yes and yes on all of that. It's just a matter of this is the right time for me and my company and my life to start making these decisions. And it's not all that way for everybody, right? So you're at different life stages. I think everybody should have a proper will and trust set up, no matter how old you are. And you have
Sure.
to keep revising that over the years as you attain more assets or have more children or more things going on. And so I'm committed to straightening out my house, getting my house in order.
And that's true for your personal planning, the business planning, and the combination of that as you consider things.
Absolutely. It helps me sleep at night knowing that I'm organized or getting there. And it's the feeling of doing the right thing for my family and my company and the suppliers and all the hundreds of people that are affiliated with our business, it's important to them. And they don't even know that it's happening. It's not affecting their day-to-day. It's not impacting their hourly wage or their salary or their goals in the business. It's just everything is designed to protect them, whether they even know it or not.
Perfect.
Brian,
Shelley, should we ask if there are any questions out there?
yeah, I please, if you have questions, type them in chat. I have a quick question, and we touched on this very briefly, but Brian, have you started thinking about succession for the business yet? Like who's lined up? Do you have key team members, or what about your kids?
So mathematically, my children aren't old enough to be smart enough to be trusted enough.
Are they over 14?
I have two kids over 14, 16 and 14 actually, and they both started working their summers with me, like I did at the same age at 14. So I don't have a succession plan of staff. I still believe that I'm the right captain of the ship for now, but I am more than open to stepping aside when I find the right individual has either come up with the business or entered into the business. With so much going on, I'm quite sure I'm going to have those opportunities to decide whether I'm going to be a passenger on this ship or if I'm going to be a captain.
You know, it reminds me of the old story. We used to watch Dallas years and years ago. And in Dallas, Jock Ewing was this larger than life character that worked in the oil fields, grew up, et cetera, married the belle of the ball and created this massive company. And he has two sons and they're arguing about who's in charge. And his point was, you show up, you do the job, you prove yourself, you take over. So we're constantly as entrepreneurs looking for alphas that can step up and do their things. As the public does not know yet, because we haven't put this out here, and Shelley's about to cringe. Shelley took a COO role over, so Shelley entered the C-suite of our firms just this year. And Shelley has been one of those people that does that, along with part that she has in doing it now. So it's great. It is amazing to watch that grow. So and Shelley's probably going to smack me later because she had a formal rollout to tell the world. So some people on this call are going to know now. Brian, thank you very much for taking the time with me today. Thanks for all that we do together. And I loved our fishing together. I love this conversation and what we're still doing. So I really appreciate you giving the time to all the people on the phone today. So Shelley, thank you very much. Thank you all very much too. Not seeing any questions. We try to make sure that we keep on time. Hey, Eric, try to make sure that we keep on time for these morning meetings. Andrew, how's it going there, buddy?
Things are going well. Thank you. Thank you for the conversation.
All right. Y'all have a good day. Any announcements, Shelley, before we end?
Join us for our EPI chapter meetings. So we have speed dating coming up this Thursday in Orange County at Maggiano's. So if you're part of that group, make sure you join us. And then we have our San Diego chapter meeting next Wednesday on the 19th. Both are at 2:30 in the afternoon. So watch for those and come join us for that.
Thank you all.
All right. Thank you.